Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to give you a review on the BTD-1 destroyer. I think I do not very often do a review on a plane, but when I do, I think it is a plane that is worth, watching out for. And the reason for that is because a lot of people requested my opinion on this rather unusual looking American torpedo bomber, which happens to be a 4.0 rank 3 premium. And there is certainly some arguments going for it, especially since now it is available via the Warbond shop, and out of the five it is potentially the one with the most unique flavor, certainly the one with the most character. So while all the other tanks and planes might be also funny in their special situations, this one is very much specialized. But that raises problems because on a normal map, on your normal day in RRB, this plane is nothing special. In fact, the 82 Skyraider is outright better in 95% of all situations, hence also the higher battle rating. But really there is a big difference. The plane is pretty sluggish, not always the fastest. Energy retention is something rather unknown to this plane. It's very fragile, and overall the bomb load compared to the Skyraider is not the best. But what the plane has really going for it is visible right here. 2 torpedoes. In fact, this is the only torpedo plane that has a 1 seat, 1 engine, but delivers 2 torpedoes. Yes, there are, for instance, the Italian heavy bombers with 3 torpedoes, but I will come to that in a moment why they are so much worse, and I will show it to you via a stat card where I think I collected all the torpedoes. And this is something that actually nobody currently talks about. So while the BTD-1 is one of the oldest premiums that I own within War Thunder, because I think it was introduced in patch 1.33, I think this is also a premium for the future when bigger ships come into the open beta or even in the closed beta. Then this plane will be the plane to go to take down difficult and annoying targets. So what is there to know about the BTD-1 destroyer? Well, in the current battle rating situation, it is the only really good attacker when it comes to attacking big ships. While there are in the tech tree a lot of good alternatives, P-47s, hell even P-63s, to take down targets in tank RB, the BTD-1 can do that as well, while there are no options at rank 3 for the premium selection. And it costs 1,600 golden eagles, so it is not that expensive either. Sorry about this. So let's have a look at the plane in detail. First of all, the armor. Just a little bit of shrapnel protection for the pilot, but I got even killed from the front by armor-piercing bullets, I guess, by some high-explosive shells detonating somewhere here, and the shrapnel still got in, and no armor for the wings, the fuselage, the engine or whatnot. And the X-ray reveals we have the most of the fuel tanks in the fuselage, a little bit of fuel tanks in the inner wings in the front. We also have 2 20mm cannons wing mounted of the A&M series, and they deliver 400 rounds, so 200 per gun. Very similar to the 82 Skyraider, but the Skyraider again is better in most situations. And you have A&M 3 cannons, but there is not the most difference in the world. So if you look at the belt, I recommend the universal belt because you can crack open light pillboxes, light tanks, you can shoot down aircraft and bombers alike. The armor-piercing incendiary shells really hit hard. The high-explosive shell also do a lot of damage. They have a good velocity. They are really, really nice. I love them. The problem with the plane is due to its sluggishness and it being heavy and the engine not being as powerful as on the 82 Skyraider, you have your damn sweet hard time bringing the plane on target. Also, it rolls around a lot. Literally in a dive you can go to 800 kilometers an hour, no problem, but you have to manually interfere because the plane will wiggle itself up, and if no interference is done, it will bury itself into the ground just when you let it fly in a straight line. It is one of those flight models that has been done by the same guy that seems to be responsible for German fighter flight models, so he had his good day with this plane as well. Yeah, so this is the BTD-1 destroyer. I have some amazing footage later on what you can do with the torpedoes, but one problem that really struck me hard is that what the plane could do. You know, what in theory, if you know War Thunder, if you know air realistic battles and tank RP, the plane has a lot of big potential due to the torpedoes, but you rarely get those matches. I actually had to switch from my usual EU and Russian servers to the South Asia and US servers to get into matches versus the Japanese. And it was not my goal to deal with Japanese aircraft, rather it was my goal to deal with Japanese ships. But I rarely got to deal with Japanese carriers, where this plane is excellent. So I think let's get into, well, a lot of funny scenes, a lot of footage to know what the plane is capable of and what not. And then, well, I'll show you a normal battle, what you can expect, and also show you the income. So now let's have a look at the cannons, if I praise them so well. One hit, Russian fighter exploded. And if you can do this to Russian fighters, of course you can do that to German fighters as well. So I could do the very same in the 82 Skyraider, but the difference is that I could do it with the 82 Skyraider much more smoothly, much more reliable, and I could repeat that over and over again, and I wouldn't have to worry about that one turn fight because I could sustain the turning. And the F4 again got one hit into the wing and down he goes, and he's not floating around like a Spitfire, he actually gives me the kill. So now this is a fight against the PE2 where I want just to let you know how you can struggle in this plane. It looks easy, but I'm out of controlling. Yes, this is stall fighting with the 2,000 pound bomb, but I could do this so much easier with the Skyraider, and the plane hangs dead in the air just like a German fighter, with the same rudder and elevator lockup, so you have to manually hack in with your keys, which is not the nicest thing to control a flight model with. So he tries to drop bombs, I get multiple hits into him, he tries to bomb me, smart move, I would have done the same to him if he would have ended up on my tail with bigger chances. And look just how often I have to hit this Russian heavy fighter or attacker. It's a PE2, I think it's the premium version. Fight of the premiums here. I think he cannot recover from this, and he actually gives me the kill. So here is the 2,000 pound bomb in action that I just talked about, and you're right at the edge of being able to destroy a base in a down tier and not being able to destroy it in an up tier. Just to make sure that you understood this right. And this is now the important part. This is Norway, where I love to end up, both for the Allies and the Axis, because it's an asymmetric map with unique targets. I dropped one torp, and if you ask yourself where I tried to drop or where I dropped it, it was right on target. Do you see this big pile of concrete, this U-boat bunker with all the flag on it? I just wait for the last possible moment, and this is hilarious. So I drop the torp just before I get down, round about right now. Yeah, there we go. And I overtake the torpedo, but then the torpedo goes under my plane and goes towards the U-boat bunker. And this is the hilarious part. So somebody is so angry at me that he actually crashes in the water with his German premium captured P-47. And the torpedo is still going, and I destroyed the base and even a triple-A position. Now, you might not have seen it there quite well, so I gladly repeat it myself, but this time it looks from a very different angle on it. So I am now not pursued by a fighter, so I can drop one on the base and one on the destroyer and just go away and try to harvest some AAA positions. Now, sadly, you very rarely have time to go back to the carriers, rearm, and take down multiple destroyers. RRB sadly doesn't work like this. So the torpedo for the U-boat bunker is still on its way. Meanwhile, I get AAA with the cannons. And now it glitches through, but it's still within the base when it takes that down. That's fantastic. Now, finally we are on a map against the Japanese. So I start from the carrier, I launch with the catapult, you know, the accelerated acceleration. It tries to simulate that, but it's not enough this time, and that's really funny, guys, and I absolutely love this. It's absolutely not humiliating to then wait in the hangar for nearly 8 minutes to get into the air again. It's the best thing that there is. So yeah, thanks, Gaijin. So now this is actually the battle that I wanted to show you. So please pay attention. How beautiful this is. This is what I love RRB. I start from the carrier, where the catapult this time is working in a beautiful sunset or sundown, I'm not quite sure. We have the nice takeoff and we are in the air. There are some carriers, the US team. It's a small map, or a rather big map, but the combat zone is rather small. So this is on the midway map, and look at this nice footage when we fly around the battlefield in stealth, when we try to get into attack position on the carriers, and where we have the free run on them. So this then again shows the pure power of the torpedo. One torpedo for an entire U-boat bunker. How many torpedoes do you need for an entire carrier? Which there are 4. The answer is 1. I could have dropped both of them much more efficient, but I just wanted to see them run if it is still there. And this is actually what the plane is really great for. And technically you could take down all 4 carriers with 2 BTDs that sneak around and decide the outcome of the game. I think you also could destroy all 4 carriers and then it's decided. Not quite sure on this map because the base symbol is actually missing. So I'm coming here from the rear of the carrier, and I just wait to make sure that the drop gets right. And then just before I break off and release the torpedo, I get a hit into the carrier, and that's battle for me, sadly. I will not make it home with this kind of lethal engine damage because it will die very rapidly. Now we come to actually the actual selling point of the plane, the way you can deliver the 2 torpedoes. Remember, there are a lot of planes in the game in normal tech trees that can deliver 2 torpedoes, but it's the stats when it comes to the maximum drop speed at which you can go and still release the torpedo without drowning. And this is just beaten by the Japanese Type 91 Mod 3 and the American Mark 13/44. You can release it with 518 kilometers per hour speed, and you have air brakes to slow you down if you come in too hot, like in this situation. So you have the furthest travel distance and you are the 2nd heaviest warhead. I think the only torpedoes that come close are the British 18-inch Mark 15 and the Japanese Type 91 Mod 3. All other torpedoes are significantly worse in their handling, their damage output, their travel distance, and the planes that are they mounted on. So first one released and we get instantly the kill. Second one and we release it. We just turn around within the flak hail, 2 targets down, double strike, and now we have to make sure that we get the hell out of there undamaged. My engine currently is running in the red, but I can control this later on as long as I'm not running 2 minutes while the temperature is blinking. and without the leak. So I really have to make sure that I get out of there. In a heavy bomber, in a medium bomber, you're a much bigger target, you're much slower to turn around, to release the torpedoes, to gain speed again after you have dropped down to 200 kilometers an hour, to actually release the torpedoes. So these are some significant problems, and we are out of the woods without being damaged. Now, if you screw it up, your torpedo launches, like in this scene, you actually have a spectacular finish. So the one thing here is I'm coming frontally onto the destroyers. This is actually the same map, but not the same match. We're going through the flak hail, untouched so far, but the hits are uncomfortably close. First ship down, I aim for the second one, but I wait a bit too long for the release because I needed to adjust it too close, and I blow myself up. Spectacular ending, not the way that I wanted it to end. Now this battle here is the regular match, where we have no ships, where you have to deal with regular opponents. We are fighting the Soviets on the alternative history Berlin map, whatnot, and I just have the one bomb for the bombing point. I am in some sort of down tier, so not in a max up tier where the health of the bombing points would increase to them being necessary to drop 1.5 tons of payload on them. And yeah, we actually take down here the base very comfortably, and we get a nice chunk of RP and silver lines for it. But I'm not done here. I still have 2 cannons, and all the targets are hittable with the cannons. And I didn't show you so far what the cannons can do. So I think the AAA is very uncomforting to me, and so I need to take it down, even though that's a bit of a waste in terms of reward that you get for your cannon shells. You always have to calculate it in that way, but then we can approach the light pillboxes, and you actually can destroy them quite comfortably if you get the range down. Now the problem is that your cannons are wing mounted, so that means you have a rather limited window of optimal damage output for your cannons. If you shoot too far, the guns get inaccurate and do not the appropriate damage, but if they do, they hit home. So while I down here all the pillboxes as much as I can do, is the plane worth the price? Well, certainly it has some bugs. It is not that easy to fly. It's not everybody's favorite to fly an attacker, not an A-tanker. And you know, you have to get used to the plane. You really need to select your servers to probably get onto the maps with carriers. Maybe you take a buddy with you to then take down all the carriers and win the game single-handedly. But you know, you cannot guarantee to face them because hardly anybody these days plays Japanese planes, despite them being pretty good actually. And so far ships have not come out. I can not tell you when they are coming out. It could be another year, another 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. I know as much as you. So there goes another pillbox, and I'm still waiting for ships to actually come out. Now about ships, I think the BTD-1 will be the most annoying plane to deliver torps to be shot down, because you are maneuverable enough as long as there is no enemy plane in the air to, you know, go in very hot, very fast, low at altitude, to jump over the island and then drop your torpedoes with the good torpedo speed. And that is, in my books, the selling point. So we are on our last run for the 5th pillbox, and then I plan to go home and rinse and repeat. The thing is, my team has done here a great job. I was very lucky that no enemy player came here, so I could drop the bomb and circle over the enemy ground forces and take them down. So I went back to the airfield and I started again after repairing, and this is what happened. Otherwise the battle would have been even more impressive. So without any provocation, without any anything in chat or whatnot, this FOU-1, which comes in landing, just hit me with a few 50 cals and they ripped my plane apart. So this plane is not a tank. But let's have a look at the actual rewards after this battle, because they are the only rewards you can look at it. 45,000 civil lines and 8,400 research points. So you could work on this, but this is all you get for the perfect run, which is not something that you can count on having in every battle. But I actually also was first in team. So this was the review on the BTD-1 destroyer. A nice plane, a very old premium. It has its bugs, it has its flaws, but it also has its charm and its unique possibilities, and I think this is worth the price for me. It is a bit more than just a collector's item. It's something that I can imagine being very useful if you are also interested in ships. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you appreciate the gameplay, the funny situations, the presentation. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. Give the video a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.